Welcome to episode 3 of the Cross Realm Podcast, the entertainment podcast hosting by CRR Gaming Group members. Today is March 16th, 2018. We are a CRR Gaming Group hosted podcast. You can reach the show by emailing us at crossrealmpodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet the show at crossrealmpod on Twitter. You can grab the RSS feed, get our show notes, and leave us a voice message at anchor.fm Crossrealm Rebellion Podcast, or just Crossrealm Podcast, sorry, and apply to join us in-game at crossrealmrebellion.com. Today, we have Esmeralda Sky with us tonight.
Hello, hello.
We got me, myself, Full Render.
Hey, Full Render.
How you doing, man?
Doing good,
We
man.
got Big Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
And we got Gigabyte chilling.
Yo.
And Johnny is hanging out with us also. Johnny Wrench.
Hello, hello.
And
Did we get-
Cyber Judge is also chilling over there in the back when I totally skipped him.
Ain't nobody getting me to subscribe.
What's everybody doing? How is everybody?
Doing good. I feel a little tired, though. I think this whole stupid time springing forward and stuff has really sucked it to me this week. It's conflicting with my game time. It's making me extra tired.
I think maybe it's the game time that's making you extra
No,
tired.
man, I look at it says 3 a.m. and I know in my heart it's really 2 a.m. and I'm living in a world of lies. That's what's really messing me up.
I've been working like crazy too. Like I've just been pulling like super late shifts. So I've been like just kind of like just busy as also. And I've been remodeling the house. So like I just been just full schedule. Like my game time, I've been trying to, I always squeeze in some time, but it's been like tight.
Yeah, I hear you. This week's been a complete mental case at work, so I'm mentally just worn out.
I just
have
wonder
no-
when they're when they're going to abolish this whole daylight savings time stuff. It's just pointless.
So frustrating. And your kids, you got kids and they don't understand. They just, it throws them all out of whack.
Oh yeah.
Not
And-
feeling...
And dogs,
I
too.
think there should be like, I'm thinking they should make like a helmet that looks like an astronaut's helmet, a bubble that you could put on your kids' heads, and it's totally soundproof. And you could choose when you want to listen to what they're saying by like hitting a little button that's on the side of
my
it.
goodness.
Otherwise, you could just mute it and you could, see them yell and scream within the helmet. It's glass, so you could, you could see what's going on, so you know they're safe, but you just don't got to hear it.
I think it's because
They're still screaming. They don't need air.
You said that oh goodness, you said that your sons were really getting along now, and it's been hard for you to hear because
It's like stop
they're
getting along so well,
well.
and they're like being loud and having too much fun.
Exactly. No, yeah, that's a good thing. I'm sure a lot of people would want your problems, honestly.
No, I know.
All right, well, I will hit the intro and we can start talking about everything we've got to share. As long as I can find it. I can never find it. I think I'll just do this one. That's totally not the right one, but it'll do. All right.
Most epic.
I know, right? It's our main topic from Rated R. Yay. Hey, Cyber. You
Hello.
have a lot of stuff. You got to join us. We got you right up front because you were afraid you were going to fall asleep.
That's right.
So
Yep.
you got that workout in, got your blood flowing. So
Yep.
what
I'm
do you
ready
have
to
to
go.
share with us tonight?
So my introduction at the beginning about ain't nobody gonna get me to subscribe. That was to you because I heard you mention
Oh, yeah.
my little
That was hilarious.
tizzy about subscribing to World of
Oh, you
Warcraft.
acted, yeah, seriously, like we had a needle and we were going to make
This is what he sounded like.
it.
This is what he explained. This is what you guys explained it to me, and this is what I got out of it. It was like we were forcing him to try coke for the first
I
time,
know,
and he was
that's how
like,
you
"I'm not
feel."
gonna I don't want to get addicted to it." I'm like, "Dude, chill. It's a game." That's a free sample. I mean, if you don't have the wherewithal to not subscribe, that's on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think Blue, he understood, because we're talking about Warcraft, the free-to-play model, that's what we're talking about. And yeah, because Blue, his finger was hovering. I don't know if he ever did it, but
No, I never pulled the trigger.
No, and I didn't pull the trigger. My finger was... So we all understood where he was coming from, but he almost acted like secretly we were holding seances and we had like some voodoo doll and we were poking the subscribe button and Cyber would just magically be subscribed to World of Warcraft and have no idea how it happened.
And I look at it like I'm this. It's like, I'll pack a sandwich for lunch tomorrow and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like buying lunch.
I feel like Cyber, it was your way of talking yourself down.
Yes, I agree.
No, I have no interest in going back there. And maybe I'll get into things and it'll explain a little bit. Yeah, no, I've not had no interest in going back to WoW. I played since early beta of that and made it till just before the first expansion came out and got bored of the game, and I'm like, that was it for me for WoW. And I'll play the free version, but I think being not in person talking and doing it all through Discord maybe made changed what I was trying to say,
right,
or how you know, made it a misunderstanding. But no, I was just
and half the time we were just razzing you to begin with. So.
Exactly, it's all good.
What I got out of it, you didn't want to subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I was willing to play. Basically, I was just trying to say I'm willing to play with the CRR group, but if you're doing stuff that requires a subscription, then you won't have me. That's all.
Exactly. And we were like, no, we're in the same boat.
Yep.
So what are you playing then?
Okay.
If you're not subscribing, what are you doing?
So Final Fantasy 15, they came out with a demo for PC recently. So I'm currently playing through the demo, which from what I've read is the whole first chapter of the game. The only other Final Fantasy that I've played is Final Fantasy X, so that's all I have to compare it to with Final Fantasies. But of course, as with everything I seem to play nowadays, I'm not very far into the game. Seems to be... now I lost my place. Hang on a sec. Let me get back on track here.
Okay. You said that you were playing... You've compared it to Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
That's the only one you've had to compare it to.
Yeah.
And 10 is really not a good comparison because 7 and 8 are the best too.
Oh, really? I enjoyed 10 when I played it. I played 10 on the PS2, but it seems like 15, just like in 10, was where you have long cutscenes, then you do a bunch of things to go to the next cutscene type thing. So it's kind of like an interactive movie, I guess. I
liked Final Fantasy Tactics the best out of all of them.
Heck yes.
I never played it. The graphics are fantastic in 15. And the gameplay is fun. I'm struggling with one thing that is different from 10, and it's real-time combat, where 10 was turn-based combat. With the real-time combat, you have to do a lot more of parrying and team moves, and everything's about timing, and I'm really struggling to get used to the controls and timing everything perfectly, where in 10 it was, okay, it's this character's turn, what do you want this character to do, and you pick whatever you want it to do, that character to do, and it goes on.
Which is what I want from a Final Fantasy game, to be honest. I don't want real-time combat in a Final Fantasy game unless you make another version of Final Fantasy. Like they have Final Fantasy Tactics, which is like a RTS type game, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I'm expecting that when I go play that game. Like they could have made like Final Fantasy Brawler or something where you know going into that it's live combat. Like if I'm in the original series, I want to play that turn-based. I want to sit back on my couch, read the story, plan out my moves. I don't want to have to be like, you know, pulling off combos and stuff. You know, you know, it's like, you know.
I hear you. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm struggling with the game. Like the little bit I've been playing, I've really been struggling with that real time where I was used to that. Okay, stop now, choose. Now there is a little bit of that stop thing because you can turn, there's a setting you turn on, and it kind of, when you're looking at the enemy that's coming at you, it kind of pauses it and shows you because there's multiple weapons you can pick from and stuff like that, and spells that you can pick from. So kind of tell you what is its weaknesses and stuff, and then you pick what you want to do initially, and then it's back to real time, and everything's real time, and of course the thing is not dead, so you're having to now quickly react on your feet. And so I'm having a struggling with it because I'm so used to that 10 model, and that's what I basing my Final Fantasy experience on was 10, and I absolutely loved how 10 played out. So I'm gonna try play and see if I can get through the end of the demo, and see if it's something I want to buy now, wait till it goes on sale, or just pass on it completely. I think the big thing is that it's holding me back is that whole idea of the real time versus turn-based. So that's all I have on 10. I don't know if anybody else, or sorry, on Final Fantasy 15. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about Final Fantasy before I move on.
No.
Nope, I've never played any of them, so it's all new to me.
And I've been hearing a lot of mixed reviews about the Final Fantasy 15. I have a couple of friends that are really into the Final Fantasy, and they're in the same boat as you. They don't really like that real-time combat for the game. But, you know, that could have been, I don't know. I don't know the game, so maybe it's been like that since, like, 12 and on. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, well, so I think since they started doing the MMOs, right? They've gone real time. What was the first MMO for Final Fantasy? Was 11, I believe, right? And 11 and 13, I think, are the MMOs.
Yeah, something like that.
But I haven't played those either. So, anyways, all right, I'm gonna move on off of Final Fantasy. I'll report back more on Final Fantasy 15 as I play through the demo. So in future episodes, maybe I'll talk more about it. So the other thing I've been thinking. Getting back into an MMO, but I'm done with, as I said at the beginning of my segment here, done with the monthly fees. There's so many MMOs out there now that either you buy the game and then you can play whatever you want, or the free-to-play ones, which if you want to use the cash shops to enhance your character, you can. But I've realized I'm paying a monthly fee for my internet. I'm paying for the game itself, and paying now they're up to $80-$90 Canadian to pay for the game. I don't want to also be putting an additional $15 a month to continue to be able to play the game. So I'm looking at MMOs, but ones that I don't have to pay a monthly fee for. Been debating on returning to Star Wars: The Old Republic. I still have it actually installed on my computer. I loaded it up the other day to see if I could still sign in and stuff. I played it before it was free to play. And actually when I bought the lifetime subscription because they had it on sale. I believe it was $150 for the lifetime subscription. So I paid that. And so basically I get all the benefits of somebody who's still paying the monthly fee. I'm not paying anything for it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty cool that way. So if I want to go back to it, it would be like I'm a paying member, but not paying anything.
Right.
So I'm debating on that one. Star Wars: The Old Republic. I don't know if any of you played it.
Way back in the day when it released.
Yeah, it's very similar to Knights of the Old Republic. But it's MMO version of Knights of the Old Republic. You pick if you want to be a rebel or an imperial, and then you pick your classes and your race on the rebel or imperial side, and it's a very story-driven MMO,
right?
So which I kind of liked. I enjoyed that, and the voice acting is well done on it. All the storyline stuff is all voice acted, and it's pretty good. It is now it was BioWare made it, but then since then has been bought by EA. So if you're not a EA fan, then you may not want to play it. But if anybody is playing it, let me know, because MMOs are always better when you have a group. So I do have characters on both Rebel and Imperial sides. So that's all I have to say about Star Wars: The Old Republic.
One of the things that I really liked about that game was that we could pick our actions. You know, like I remember it was like you go to get your quest and you could either decide to help them or not help them, and you could decide to turn on them. And I like the way that our choices in the game directly affected our interactions and who we got to interact with, and it changed, like our appearance would change if you went more to the dark side. Your appearance changed a certain way. I did really dig that part of the game.
That's cool. The light and dark.
I really liked that
meter. Yeah.
So like your story was never really the same depending on like how you answered your questions and your quests, and
Right.
you always had a different experience. So I really enjoyed that part of the game.
Well, it's cool because every class had its own storyline too, right?
Yeah,
So
yep.
it didn't. You could roll a totally new character, and it would be a totally new storyline, which is pretty amazing. And
I
the free to
agree.
play gets all that. I believe free to play limitations are like you can't do the.
I don't think you can have a hover thing, like you have to run everywhere or something.
Yeah, unless
Your
you buy it
travel
in the
was
cash
very
shop.
limited.
Yeah, and then
yep.
some of the I forget what they call them, the group like kind of like the raid things, I believe are locked out to free to play players.
Yeah,
I
because there
forget what they
are
call
like
them.
in the world instances, like if you're just out and about questing, you can roll up on like in the world boss that's going down. I think you can participate in those, but you can't like you said actually go in like a dungeon or something like that.
Right.
Just from my memory though, I could be wrong. They could
Yeah.
have changed it. It's been a while, but
Yeah.
I did like that part of the game. I think the part why I stopped is because they didn't have it, to me it wasn't ready to launch. They were missing simple things like guild banks and stuff.
Right.
So I was joining in when it came out with like this big mega guild thing, and they were recruiting members, and it was this big exciting thing when the game was getting ready to launch, and they had everything ready to rock and roll. They had like crafting officers and questing officers and welcoming officers, like they had all of their stuff ready to rock and roll, and then they get in and there's not a freaking bank to work out of. So we're like this huge mega guild with all these big plans and dead in the water because
Right.
it was not ready to launch. So I really hope they over time.
I think they cleaned all that
years,
up now. I do.
They should,
I do
'cause that
believe
was like,
they have all
what?
that stuff now. Yeah.
How do you have an MMO and not have that? That's so simple, but
I know when
Yeah.
it first started, the space battles were stupid too. Like the,
yeah. I remember hearing a lot about that.
those
Yeah.
were really stupid too when they launched them, and I don't know if they've improved those
I'm
at all.
not
But
sure either. Yep.
so that's one of the ones I'm thinking of. But there's two others that I'm kind of humming and hawing about that are out now. And one I'll talk about a little bit because I did play the free trial, but the other one I haven't played at all. First one being Black Desert Online. So I saw somebody mention it on Discord a couple of weeks ago. I must have posted something, and then
I think
it was
Luminen used to play it or has played it or something.
Okay.
It
I
looks
know
kind of cool.
I know it was mentioned. So I'm like, oh, if they have a free trial, I'll grab it and see. So I installed it. It is one that you pay to purchase it, and then there's no ongoing monthly fees. I believe they do have a cash shop though. That one, from what I played in the demo, I played like literally 10 minutes because maybe I didn't give it enough of a chance, but I was kind of turned off by it's the characters are gender locked, so I always like playing either a rogue class or a hunter class. I'm a lot of times in the MMOs I play the hunter.
I don't like
hunter
that.
style.
The class is agenda locked.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, so I was forced because I wanted to play a hunter, somebody that runs around with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, my favorite too.
I wanted to play that, but I had to be a female race, and I'm always, if you see me in any MMO, I'm always male, and I'm always usually either rogue or hunter to start. So I didn't like that I had to be that specific, like it was a set thing. The character designer was kind of cool. You could change how like you could stretch the face and the body, and
But I'll tell you
change
what,
weight
the
and
game
stuff,
looks cool. The gameplay looks pretty dope.
It's visually it is pretty cool. Like I said, I didn't play it very far because the other thing that was really getting to me right at the beginning is the voice chatter. You start off with this black, I don't know what it is in front of you that's kind of trying to guide you through the beginning, and it was very something about the voice chat, and even like the character I was playing being female, her just everything was like it was like a little schoolgirl giggling all the time and stuff like it was something about it was just irritating to me, and I'm like, I can't play this.
You couldn't really feel like you had a connection with your character in the game.
But I'll tell you what,
Exactly.
raiding a castle looks pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
That seems super unfortunate because I've been waiting for this game to come out on console since they announced that they were going to try and put it out, but it keeps getting pushed back.
Well, it is there is a free trial, 7-day trial for it. So if you guys want to try it yourselves and form your own opinions, don't let my opinions sway you either way. I'm an opinionated person. I like things a certain way, and this one just wasn't.
Particular person.
Yeah,
You're very
I'm a particular person. Yeah,
Yes.
and this one just wasn't moving me
Right.
to want to play it. So,
I did notice that the starter pack even is only $9.99, so that's not bad either. If you wanted
Right.
to make, $10, you could get a Whopper meal or whatever and poop it out a couple hours later, and at least here you have a game you can play every night if you want.
yeah,
And then Traveler's Packet was $29.99 US dollars, and then Explorer's Package, as they say, the best value is $49.99. But $9.99 ain't bad. That's pretty
Yep.
cool.
So, anyways, yeah, and I do like that they have the trial, right? Because
Yeah,
if it
that's
was a
handy,
fantastic
too.
game that would have, or if I connected with the trial,
Yeah.
it would have motivated me. Like I'm connecting with Final Fantasy 15, even though I don't like or I'm having struggling with the getting used to the real-time strategy. I am
Right.
connecting with it a little bit, where it was a totally different experience with Black Desert Online. So where I'm unsure what I want to do with Final Fantasy 15, I'm almost positive what I want to do with Black Desert Online, and that's not really
Nothing.
continue with it, having any interest in
Exactly.
it. So,
Hey,
But-
that's the best thing about being a gamer is we have a lot of different things to pick from.
exactly.
Why waste your time on something that you're not feeling?
That's it. So the other MMO I've been thinking of, and I know this was one, it's been out for a while. They started off as one where it was a subscription fee, but then they went to a pay once, play forever, and that's Elder Scrolls Online. So I've been thinking of that. I've heard that in other gaming podcasts I listen to, and it sounds neat. Unfortunately, there's no free trial for Elder Scrolls Online, so I don't know anything about it other than it's an Elder Scrolls game that's played online with many, many people.
When you say Elder Scrolls, it's very loosely Elder Scrolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you played it.
I played it for about a year and a half on
Okay.
console. Just like Black Desert, it has a in-game store where you can purchase different things, and it changes up constantly. It still has a monthly subscription that you can opt to get, and if you do that, it gives you access to all the expansions,
Okay.
or you can just outright buy the expansions.
Right.
There is like PvE questing zones, and it's it has its own story, and with each expansion, it kind of adds more zones that you can quest in, and then it has its own separate PvP zone, just like another game that you're going to talk about later has.
Okay. Interesting. Well, it might be. Apparently, Elder Scrolls Online every once in a while does have like free trials, or I'm guessing like the free weekends or something. So I'm gonna keep my eye open on that and maybe look at trying that one out and see what I think of it. But I'm hesitant to jump into something if I've never played it before. I might even go on YouTube and watch some Let's Plays or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
I find that Let's Plays tend to tell you if you're going to like the game or not.
I agree. It gives
But-
you at least something to go on when you have nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So I know we kind of been talking in between, but I just want to open it to everybody, get others' opinions. What you guys think of these MMOs? If you have any opinions on any of the three I mentioned, or any other MMO that is out now that you guys might think I would be interested in looking into.
So I know. Go for it.
No, go for it.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
go ahead.
anyone want to go?
I was just gonna say I was hearing a lot of. All of a sudden, RuneScape has been popping up, and I was gonna check that out. But you already know that because you were razzing me.
I'm
That
gonna
game
give
is
you
so
a
old.
warning, Esme.
I know it's super freaking old. I
Not
logged
even
in.
that. I'm not even talking about it being old. I'm
Oh,
gonna give you the
it's-
warning of it's
okay, but-
probably the only MMO I would call more cutthroat than Eve.
Really?
Isn't it like super pay to win?
Is it really?
I haven't heard about RuneScape being super pay to win, but I have heard that it's super cutthroat.
Oh, okay.
It's like the way that I've never played like more than 5 minutes of the newest version of it. but the way that I've heard people who have played it talk about it, it gets a lot of comparisons, like player base wise, to a game like Eve. It's a completely player driven market, from what I can tell.
Huh. Yeah, I'd only found it because one of my friends I follow on Twitter have always followed him, Jester Arc. He was streaming. He's in Australia, so while I'm sleeping, he's always tweeting out, just getting ready to stream let's play with RuneScape with his girlfriend or fiance. And so I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, they seem to be having a lot of fun in that. And then I thought, well, I've heard of it, I've never played it, and I downloaded it, and it's a free to play. They say they're a truly unique MMO. And that it's free to play, so you're not out anything to download it and check it out. That's the one thing I liked, but I downloaded it, but I just created a character, but I don't like it because it's a browser. I don't like games that run in my browser for some reason. I'm very snobby against that. 'Cause I didn't like the click and play. I didn't like how I moved my character. I didn't play very much of it, to be honest with you, because then, to be honest, I spend way too much time in Arc, and I thought, what the hell am I thinking? I'm not gonna have enough time to even check this thing out, because we play so much Arc and stuff. So yeah, but that's one. It's free to play. If you want to check that out, go for it.
Yeah, don't go into the wilderness with people. That's the
is there actual
PvP
woods
zone
and stuff? Oh
yeah,
okay.
I guess there's like a wilderness.
I was in a town.
Fun fact: Venezuela, apparently it's super popular to farm green dragons in RuneScape as a way to make money. Venezuela right now, because socialism has just destroyed their economy.
Huh. Well, they had no idea. Yeah, I didn't. It says you can be your own hero. There's no character classes. Choose the abilities you want. Adopt different playstyles to suit the situation. You can have the skills of a warrior, healer, and wizard all at once. Yeah, as the community shapes the game. And gods are fighting for supremacy, and your actions decide the victor. Characters will die, and geography will reshape. The consequences forever alter the RuneScape's future. But it says it's truly free to play, so I don't know. I don't know anything more than that.
Wonder what other game that reminds me of.
So you've heard that it's pretty cutthroat because it's player driven?
I've heard that, yeah, it's super like people will scam you all the time.
Huh.
Which, I mean, personally, I support. If you're dumb enough to fall for it, you're dumb enough to fall for it. You deserve it.
How does this not surprise me?
Well, it's kind of like in Eve. People will make a contract telling you, okay, I'm going to sell you this fleet issue ship. And then you look, and you can see in the contract, it's not a fleet issue ship, and you still buy it.
No way.
Like, they can straight up lie to you.
So it's like the real world.
Yeah, basically, you can scam people. They have to be smart enough to catch your scam.
I don't think I'd want to play a game like that because I play games to get away from the real world, so why would I want to play a game that mimics the real world? That would suck.
It can be kind of brutal on people.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be very...
I mean,
if my brain's already fried by the time I was
going to say,
play.
if you have a brain in your head, you won't fall for most of these scams.
That's true.
I say most because there's some really, really good ones out there.
Right. Yeah. And I don't really think it has
They're not
anything
interested in you.
I don't think it has anything to do with brains. I think it has to do with like your trust too, or your moral system. Like some people just don't understand, what it takes to be a jerk. You have to know your enemy to, you have to be like your enemy in a way to understand them, to know them. And a lot of people don't come in and have that nature about them that to want to immediately screw somebody over to get ahead. So I could see they could be the smartest person in the world, but maybe they're just nice and they don't know what it's like to be an asshole, so they don't even see it coming. You know what I mean? So
I don't know, man.
I don't think it's nothing to do with smarts. All 100%.
When they offer to sell you 10 of this fucking thing that expired a month ago, and you buy it. Some people are
trusting. They have never been fucked over or screwed over or anything. They don't even know what it feels like.
That does happen.
They should honestly get fucked over more because it's an important part of life.
Well, it probably takes that, honestly. I'm just saying I get what you're meaning, but I don't think it's 100% black and white, you're dumb or you're smart. There's a lot of factors that go into why people trust people and stuff. So, because, you don't know until you know.
Get it kicked out of you.
Kinda.
You don't know until you know.
Until you know.
Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-da-da.
But you have another... That was my game. Did anybody else have anything to to toss in Cyber's
Oh yeah,
basket.
yeah. I remember what I was gonna say. I tried Star Wars: The Old Republic recently. The free to play was pretty garbage.
Tell us how you really feel, Giga.
That
You
was very
always hold
disappointing.
back. You always holds back.
Oh no, I'm holding back.
I know.
I am absolutely.
It's like, I
holding back.
tried it. It's garbage.
Well,
okay.
it's like, okay,
I get it.
Here's what it felt like to me, and I played it maybe like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I'll reverb you on that too. It'll be, it's garbage.
It feels a lot like it's kind of been turned into a cash cow at this point. Like maybe it was a good game at one point in its life, but at this point it feels like it's dead. And it also feels like they really, really try to get you to... Because I don't know how to describe it. They try to milk you for money.
Okay.
That's the point. It is a dead game. It's
Yeah,
pretty
there's
much dead
straight
now.
up boxes you can buy that give you better gear. Stuff like that annoys me.
Okay.
Being able to directly buy an advantage over other people.
Yeah, I can see that.
I will say with ESO, they have a pretty cool PvE storyline. And just because, so there's 3 different alliances that you can choose from. And just because you choose one alliance doesn't mean you miss out on the other 2, because once you finish the storyline for yours, it branches off into the other 3 storylines that you can go play.
And that's Elder Scrolls Online. I've never played that either.
I had a lot of fun playing DC Universe online.
Yeah, I saw Lee was in that a couple nights ago, and I wondered if he was getting back into it.
It's a fun game. Like, he will always pop in and out. He loves that game, so he'll always be in and out of that game. But I had a good time playing it too, and I'll pop in every once in a while because my character's kind of dope. So
Yeah,
I don't
and it
mind
was
popping
fun when
in.
we played together. I thought that was fun.
Is that the one where you create your own superhero?
yeah, you're
Yeah.
a superhero. Like, what's cooler than that? Like, it's really fun.
I think I was the Kathleen
Or
for
super
JJ.
villain.
Or a super villain.
I think we were villains, actually.
We were villains. We
yeah,
are
we were
villains.
villains. Yep.
And DC Universe is one of the only games that are cross-platform across like both consoles and PC.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know that I liked playing it with a controller better than the keyboard. I didn't know it was truly all cross-play. That's
Well,
cool.
The only thing about that game is it's a lot of fun, and I do like it. But the story gets a little... because there's so many expansions, because that's how they really make their money. There's so many expansions that as a new player, it's like overwhelming because there's so many expansions. And as you're coming up from a lower level, it's kind of harder to get people to do the lower level stuff. And it's hard to do with people that are your level, because most of the time you'll get in and there's always somebody in the group who's like level 150 and you're level like 10. And they're just blowing everything up, and you're not really playing the game at that point, you know? So that's kind of frustrating. But it is fun to make a superhero. The missions are kind of fun, and, you know, you get to play with Batman, so that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. You stepped away, but you're back, Cyber. You want to tell us
Yeah,
about...
sorry. Kids
Camelot?
wake up. I had to run and get them.
Yep, I know how that is.
Anyways, so so one thing now, I guess still being on MMOs, because this is going to be a future MMO, but looking at future games here, I've been keeping my eye on since I heard about it. It's been in the making, I think, for a while now, but the game is called Camelot Unchained. So Camelot Unchained is being developed by one of the guys that designed the first MMO I ever played, which was Dark Age of Camelot, by Mythic Entertainment. Mythic Entertainment is now EA, so it's EA Mythic. And the Dark Age of Camelot is actually still up and running to this day. Camelot Unchained, I've been watching videos out on it and stuff like that. Is similar to Dark Age of Camelot in the idea that it's going to be 3 realms, so realm versus realm, where in Dark Age of Camelot you had Albion, which was like King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table thing. You had the Hibernians, and you had the Midgards. In Camelot Unchained, it's going to be the Arthurians, the Tuatha De Danann, and the Vikings are going to be the 3 realms. So it's still going to be that 3 realm versus realm thing. One of the things that I've heard about in videos on Camelot and Chain, though, that's different from Dark Age of Camelot is it's going to be totally PvP focused. So there's going to be no PvE areas where you're going to get your levels and stuff like that. That kind of concerns me because I'm such a casual player that usually I get so far behind that I don't do well in PvP because I'm out leveled by everybody. So
Right.
it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that mechanic in a game if it's going to be 100% open PvP. If they handle that level balancing really well, I probably will be very interested in playing it and giving it a try. Yeah, I enjoyed Dark Age of Camelot, and that's when I heard that Camelot Unchained was being produced by one of the original Mythic designers who made Dark Age of Camelot. I started watching it very closely. So one of the things right now, so Camelot Unchained, they're looking for pledges. And depending on which pledge, they're calling them pledges, but depending on which pledge package you purchase, you can get access to different tiers. So it looks like they're just starting the first round of beta testing now. So to get into the first round of betas, I'm just on their website. It's $60 would get you into beta round 1. It looks like it's called the Builders tier. Builders tier, I Am the Warrior, I guess they call it, and you get one additional month of subscription. So it looks like it is actually going to be a subscription based. You get Living Digital Strategy Guide, Builders Welcome Package, digital soundtrack, Builders Pack Level 1. I'm not sure what that is. Special thanks in our in-game credits, upgrade to Beta 1 access, and Forum badge is upgraded to Silver. So for $60, you could get into level 1 or the first beta. Now they also have, which interested me more, the lifetime packages. So those though are a lot more expensive, $275. But they basically give you Platinum Forum badge. Builders Pack is upgraded to level 3. Total of 3 extra beta invites, 3 additional character slots at launch, alpha access. But you also get a 3-year subscription, which is what commonly known as a lifetime subscription, and it's renewable after that, after the 3 years for $1 per year. So
Well, it's not called lifetime subscription. Let's call it 3-year subscription.
Yeah, let's
But it's
call
only
it a
a buck,
3-year
though, to
subscription, and then
renew,
we'll charge
right?
you $1 every year.
That's nothing.
It's a great deal, but I mean, it's $270 up front.
But that's what the, like, when I put, so I purchased myself 3 lifetime subscriptions in the past. I bought the now defunct Champions on, actually I think Champions Online exists still, but I don't think it did very well. And I had a lifetime subscription to that. I paid $150 for that one. And I think it was regularly $250, and they cut it down to $150. I did the same thing for the Star Wars Old Republic game, and I think there was one other one that doesn't even exist anymore that I did that for. So that's the $275 is the going regular rate for what they call lifetime subscriptions. So they're staying on par with what other companies have charged in the past for lifetime subscriptions.
Well, I didn't think it sounded expensive because if you think about it, if you're spending $15 a month and you times that by 12, that's almost the whole thing right there. So you get
Right.
so once you pass the 3 years, you're definitely more than paid up for it. It's like definitely worth it.
Yeah,
And then
but
But
I mean,
is
how
it a
many
game
MMOs?
you're going to play for 3 years? Like
Yeah,
I played
exactly.
WoW. I mean, no, but here's the thing, man. I played WoW for close to 5 years, and I still
Yeah.
sometimes want to go back and play. So there are MMOs out there that can hook you, but you just got to find that one.
Yeah, you gotta
Yep.
find the one.
So I keep looking up on this one, and the biggest disappointment for me was in Dark Ages of Camelot, they had a Midgar race called the Troll. It was a big rock thing, and the closest thing they're going to have into it is Arthurian's Golem, which that kind of disappoints me as a Midgard fan.
What I find about MMOs is that It's so weird. It's like WoW came out and you played WoW. It's like once you play WoW, you want other MMOs to kind of fulfill the same shoes that WoW did, and just no MMOs that I've played so far could live up to it. And like that's the whole thing. And I'm saying that because every new MMO that I play it, and then I find that I run out of things to do. And when I was playing WoW, I felt like I've never ran out of things to do. There was always something to do, and it's such a big world. And I know it's because they've been around for years now, like years and years. So over 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff to like do. And that's the hard part. It's like I'm in this new game. I played for like 6 months. I'm loving it. But then I hit that wall where just like I'm just bored and like I want to do stuff, but there's nothing to do. Do you guys get what I'm saying on that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yep,
completely.
I do.
So
like
with
WoW, you could go and do old raids. You could do pet battles. You could look for rare mounts. You could look for rare pets. There's so many just things that you could do to fill time, you know?
with WoW, their PvE was amazing, but their PvP kind of sucked, in my opinion.
That is your opinion. I like their PvP.
Well, okay, so their open world PvP was awesome, but their like
I
arenas and
agree.
stuff was, it was lackluster for me. And I always secretly wished that they had the same kind of battlegrounds like Dark Ages and Camelot had, because that by far, even to this day, is some of the best PvP I've ever played.
And that was the most, I agree, because that's the game I had the most fun doing, was the open world. In structured, like RP, PvP fashion, where we would battle, then go back, and then battle again, and then go back, and then battle, like, it was fun. And then doing all that, like, capturing the nodes and the different cities and the villages. Like, I've never got that itch scratched ever since that game either. And it has not got, it wrecked that itself. Like, it took one of the coolest things about that game that I loved and pissed all over it. And now it's that, even that game isn't the same anymore. I agree with you, Big. I do.
One of the most fun things I've had ever, and I never got the same night of fun, where I was in WoW and where we went and killed all of the leaders in all the cities to get that special mount, the bear.
So
Yeah.
And that was just a blast, just getting together with like 20 people, 30 people, and just raiding cities. And then like everybody's in the cities was like trying to like fend you off. It was just amazing. Like there was one point where we had someone like scout it out to see, okay, what city right now has like low pop? I'm gonna go hit that one first. Because once they catch on to what you're doing, all of a sudden all the cities flood with new players, and they all sign on and they want to fight. So it's like you try and get in there at like certain times. It was just super fun, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
talking
like,
about 2030, I remember when it was
and then you're
hundreds
trying
of
to,
players.
and then you're trying to sneak over there without like anybody from the other faction noticing. Okay, why is there a massive amount of players like coming on this city? It's like you were trying to like sneak around and like, don't everybody go there at once. Go in like one at a time. It was just great.
And that was the first game I ever got to teabag someone, was World of Warcraft.
Yeah, teabagging was the best.
That was the best.
And then you would do things like you would send some people to go hit one of the other cities. And then when everybody runs there, then the real group would go and hit the real target. Like that was like super
100%.
awesome.
Yeah,
That
you're
stuff
right.
was always so fun.
Yep, that was a lot of fun. But now they added the cross server, mesh servers. So and then you can invite people from your BattleNet things to join your server. So it's like you lost that sense of community. You lost that sense of like, on that server, you knew who the guilds were. Now you go to ping a city and then you could get one dude and like, one guy will show up and then invite a whole bunch of people from his thing. It lost, you still got combat, but it didn't mean anything. Like you lost the bragging rights. You lost that sense of an actual real world combat. You just had nameless combat instead of like, yeah, we got that guild. You know what I mean? Like you had that back and forth vibe on those servers. And when they did that, they took that away. It sucked.
What was that one undead area where everybody would fight in between towns? Yeah. I remember there used to be forums where people would have hits on people.
Absolutely.
And if you could prove that you killed them,
Yep.
People would pay you in-game gold for
That's
that.
how it was on the server adventure company that I was on, because there was a leader of this very military style guild, and if everybody in that alliance guild had to ride a certain mount, had to have X amount of gear on, and nobody was allowed to go out by themselves. It was ran that good, and the guild leader of that guild he always had hits on him, and it was a blast. And even as a low level player, your whole goal was to be a spy, and you would hide in the woods outside the alliance castle, knowing that you could get ganked at any moment, but you wanted to get eyes on the guild leader to get it back to your guild leader so that you could rally the troops. It was a lot of freaking fun. And then it just went, they shot themselves in the foot. They stepped on their own Peter. It's not that great.
And that's pretty hard to do.
I know, and they did it, and now it sucks. I did it. That was so much fun.
Man, you're making my trigger finger itch again.
And
Good lord. I know, right?
And I used to love when somebody when you're on one of your new characters and someone hits you and they kill you over and over again. Nothing gave me more satisfaction than switching back over to my rogue and just going back to that spot with my main and it's like you've gone and did it. You're gonna make me get my main, okay? Yep. And then you just go back and you just wreck them.
There's an awesome YouTube video on that. It was called "Don't Make Me Get My Main." Did you ever watch it? Because that's one thing about the community. They're always making their own videos with the live action, and they make their own songs and stuff, and so funny. I'll have to find it and share it later in Discord. It's old school, but I gotcha. We have totally hijacked Cyber.
That's all good. No, I gotta say, it's interesting hearing Blue talking about why he didn't like the PvP in WoW because it's a Dark Age of Camelot. I think the exact same way because, like I said, I did play WoW and I didn't like the PvP, but I was coming from Dark Age of Camelot as well. And Dark Age of Camelot, the PvP was absolutely fantastic. And the only game I've played that's come closest to that style of PvP was Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 had a similar type of thing where they have battlegrounds and the open PvP area once you're max level. Or actually, no, I think you could go into it at any level and they automatically bumped you up to the max level in Guild Wars 2. But the PvP style of Dark Age of Camelot, which I'm hoping that the developer adds to Camelot Unchained, was just fantastic. Where, for example, the battlegrounds, which I spent most of my time because I never got max level, and because I never get max level in anything I do. But the battlegrounds, so they would have one that was I don't remember the level things, but let's just say the first one that you could enter, you had to be level 5. And the highest level you could get was 10, and then you couldn't get access to that battlegrounds anymore. But in the battlegrounds, you would have your 3 keeps where each realm would start or warp in, and then there would be 1 keep in the middle, and you could use siege equipment and whatever you raiding equipment. So they had 3 or 4 different siege things that you had buy the parts and build the siege equipment, and they weren't movable siege, so you had to figure out where you're going to set it and build it. So they had catapults, ballistas, and trebuchets, and battering rams. But you would do all this, and the object was basically for your realm to take over that middle keep. And the cool thing is that middle keep, depending on what level that keep was by the realm that owned it, would have stronger NPCs if it was a higher level or weaker NPCs. It was just a fantastic PvP experience, and they made it so that you were just starting out, you're level 5, you could still play and you wouldn't feel overwhelmed by facing a level 80 or whatever. You were only going to face maximum of level 10. And as you got to that level 10 range, you're feeling like you could conquer the world because you were at the top of that area of the battlegrounds as far as level went. And it's that kind of PvP that really attracted me to Dark Age of Camelot, and I haven't found a single MMO that's come near what you could do in Dark Age, what they did in Dark Age of Camelot for battlegrounds and all that.
Well, the best part is it was like PvP training wheels, because you learned how to PvP with your character as you leveled.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I thought they had towers that you could take to make taking the center keep easier.
I think that was in the Frontier. I think the Battlegrounds, it was just the main. You could be right. I just remember always going for the center castle, but you could be right that they had other things. In the Battlegrounds, I don't remember exactly. It was such a long time ago. When, like, if you guys go and look at that game, like, you can get free trials and stuff of Dark Age of Camelot now, but you'd be like, what the hell is this type thing? Because everything is like, to do an emote, you had to do a slash wave or slash whatever. Like, it's like totally old school MMOs.
You got to put it in perspective. That game was out years before WoW, so that just dates it.
Yeah, it was before. Well, let me find out when it was made. Yeah, I was in high school when it made it. It ate up a whole lot of my senior. Oh no, I guess it was made. It came out. Initial release date was October 9th, 2001. So I was out of high school. I was in college, so it ate up a lot of my first years of college.
Which I'm sure you're not alone, because I know that there's a lot of people who's had that happen. Definitely devoted like their first year to some crazy game. Had no idea.
Yeah, it was at the time when Dark Age of Camelot was out. It was when the original EverQuest was out, and Ultima Online. Those were the MMOs of that year, that era, I guess.
Right.
So, but anyways, I think I've taken up enough time talking MMOs and stuff. So I'm gonna pass the torch on.
Alrighty. I am the one you're passing it to. Mine's pretty short and sweet. I downloaded just for mobile just like a day ago. I saw that Sims Mobile was a thing and on my phone. So I thought, I hate Sims on the computer. And like growing up, that's all my sister played. And I always liked to play Age of Empires, but I figured maybe it's better as a time wasting game. And sometimes, because when you're always playing combat games, sometimes, at least for me, I like to switch it up and have a non-combat game. So I'm just testing this out to see if it's still stupid like I thought it was a long time ago. So far it's interesting. I'm still exploring it and seeing I was talking to you in Discord Cyber about it, and we were wondering if there was like a lot of wait time on stuff or like forcing you to like a cash shop, and so far not the case, because you can send your person to work and you can either go and do their job. Like my chick's a barista right now, so she's leveling up in her coffee shop. So it's kind of boring, but it's one that my daughter likes to look over my shoulder and kind of be like, let's do this and let's do that. So it's like one of those games, like they can kind of get in and involved as long as you're not like,
So
you're not hooking up.
You're not hooking up. Yeah.
I got a question for you about this.
Is that a hot dog in your pocket?
I know. They're already like, they have hot tubs and all that stuff.
Do you need to have materials to make things like couches and what have you?
Nope. I'm unlocking stuff just by leveling up in the game, and I think I'm like level 7 or 8. They just, all different kinds of stuff that you can unlock. You can build your house, you can collect stuff. So it's kind of cool if you're collecting kind of a person. There's real players in the game, but I haven't really felt like they're talking to me. It's like our Sims do their own thing, and you can add people. Like Yogi added me. You can add your friends list. There's like a little friend code. But I think they don't give you like a name on a friends list. You're a bunch of letters and numbers until you hit like a certain level, probably so that they know that you're going to keep playing, so they don't bog down their systems with a bunch of names. So, and then you can hold parties and level up, and there's a bunch of different stuff you can do to unlock stuff to build your house with and all that stuff.
I love that picture you posted with that chick just hanging out in your house.
Yeah!
Not able to talk to you. And you're like, bye, Felicia.
I was like, baffling. Like, what? I invited Bella over to have a conversation. We were supposed to be friends, but she just sat on my couch. And every time I would go to talk to her, it's like, Bella can't chat right now. I'm like, what the hell is Bella doing on my couch then? Bella, get out of my house. So, but it's neat. Like, the only thing right now that I haven't been pressured to buy anything, there's a lot of that, watch this 18-second video, and it's normally advertising another mobile game, and you can get this additional token, so it's like you can click it to watch it, walk away. You know what I mean? It's not anything serious, and you just add up these little tickets that turn into points, and you can buy stuff for your house that way.
Yeah, what was that mobile game that we tried out? That like mobile fantasy game.
We tried out a couple of them.
There was one where I watched a whole bunch of those like videos for like free stuff.
Yeah.
And I decked out my character. It was like pretty cool.
Is it the one that we could just hit autoplay and it pretty much just did the whole game for us, like until you hit like a ceiling, like it?
Maybe. I think it was that one. Yeah.
I think it was.
You had like a pet.
Ones.
You had a pet with you.
Yeah. Yep. It got to it was making our phones hot. I think that was the point. Like my phone was getting hot, your phone was getting hot, but we had older phones at the time, so I don't know. It was very battery. It was sucking the life out of our phone batteries, that particular one. But so far, Sims isn't. It's better than what I thought. It's definitely, if you're not like, I don't think it's for everybody by far, but it's not bad either. It's kind of, it's what it is. It's what it's always been. It's what it's always been. So also, I mentioned last week that Chucklefish is the developer for Stardew Valley. They actually have announced the name of their RPG that is like a crossover between Stardew Valley and Harry Potter, and it is called Witchbrook. So he finally released the game title for that. And also he tweeted out that a little bit more information on when Stardew Valley is going to go to multiplayer, or a type of multiplayer. I think it's more or less like a co-op multiplayer. There's not going to be like people that you don't know roaming around, but you can like hook up with your friends and like share a farm or a world with each other. So that's cool.
I'm curious on how the houses is going to work.
I know, right? I'm really kind of curious. I know Yogi plays Stardew Valley on his Switch. I would think it'd be cool if we could like all do cross-platform on that, but I doubt that's probably going to happen. But who knows? But so that I was excited about that. But so jumping back, they said that the Stardew Valley, the Witchbrook, it was the Stardew Valley that Harry Potter said it has a 2D aesthetic that looks a lot like Stardew Valley, and it's built upon the idea that, of course, we all want to go to magic school, so it's going to be based around a plot like that. So I'm excited about that. And I know we talked a lot about this on our show last night, but a lot of our our Cross Realm Cast listeners might not know that we do an Ark Survival Evolved podcast at ratedark.com, and we record those every Thursday. Well, it's going to be every Friday. We're swapping the nights, and we did talk about it, so I'm going to share with our gaming listeners here that Ark Survival Evolved is also coming to mobile, iOS, and Android, and you can sign up for the beta for iOS right now, and I put the links in the show notes, but it's playark.com/mobile, so you can head there, and the links are in the show notes. And so does anybody have any thoughts on any of that stuff? Because then I have a TV show I wanted to share.
What have you been watching?
I've been watching, I like the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. Have you guys seen that on Netflix? It's by Jerry Seinfeld.
I've seen it on there, but I've never watched it. And I kind of wanted to. I want to check it out eventually.
It looks like one of those things with a lot of awkward situations. And I'm the type of person that would get like really weirded out by that and have to walk away.
Yeah. Well, like what part would weird you out?
Just the awkward social thing. I can't do it.
Oh, like, okay. I found that it's like a show that I can't, this falls in the category of, this is a show that I don't need to devote all of my brain to, so like I can play a game and then listen to this on the side, because some of the comedians are my favorites and I think they're really funny. So I like seeing them talk very candidly and with other people in their realm of employment. So I think we get a little bit, because then they start sharing stories about other things that you don't get that inside kind of view on, like I can't remember who it was, obviously Jerry Seinfeld, and I think maybe Jimmy Fallon. I think he was talking to him, and they were talking about Jack Nicholson and how Jimmy Fallon and him had this interaction about Cracker Jacks, like like Jack Nicholson is really pissed off at Cracker Jack toys now because back in the day he had some really badass toys, and now they just give you stupid pictures and stickers and stuff, and it's just little things like that you don't really see, and I thought it was kind of entertaining. Because it literally, so for those who don't know, it's Jerry Seinfeld's talk show combines coffee, laughs, and vintage cars. So they literally drive around in awesome cars and just shoot the shit, and then they go get some coffee, and then they hop back in their car. You get to see like people recognizing them, and some it goes up well and some not so well. So it's just funny. I enjoyed it. It's something new where Netflix has a lot of like normal TV shows or movies. This is something different.
Do people still recognize Seinfeld? I think a lot of people wouldn't.
Kesha recognized him. I was laughing my ass off. I was watching this new show. Do you guys know who Kesha is? She's like that singer that probably shouldn't be one.
Yeah, she's a singer. I mean, she's alright.
She drinks her own pee.
I kind of like Kesha.
Yeah, but if auto-tune wasn't a thing, she probably wouldn't have a job, because with auto-tune it was a lot of her like beginning, like lot of
damn.
Yeah, just saying. But it was funny because she recognized Jerry Seinfeld on like a red carpet event, and she like rushed him like like all obnoxious and her hands flying, and he's looking at her like, oh, what the hell? Like he instantly gets in defense mode and like puts his hands out, and he's looking around like, who is this crazy chick? Because obviously there's such an age gap there. Like he's not probably rolling around in his vintage cars listening to Kesha. He's not, obviously, because he didn't know who the hell she was. She's like, it's me, and he's like looking like, who? Get this woman away from me. It was hilarious.
It's like, I don't know you. You're not popular enough.
Someone recognized him. It was just funny. And I felt bad for her because it was one of those situations you're like, she was so excited and he was looking at her like she was a piece of like dirty gum stuck to the bottom of his shoe, and she must be removed.
That's the situations
now.
Blue can't handle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. That's a pretty neat show. That is on, and I put links in the show notes. All right, I'm handing it over to Mr. Johnny Wrench.
Well, this morning when I woke up, I decided instead of jumping into gaming, I would catch up on some movies that I'd missed. So I started watching the Hobbit series. I'd seen The Lord of the Rings, so I wanted to catch up with The Hobbit.
Ooh.
And one of the scenes got me thinking about an old school game that I used to play, and it's where they finally make it into the mountain, and Bilbo walks into the room that's got all the gold in it. And I was like, that looks so much like the Dwarf King's like treasury on Ultima Underworld. And so I spent the majority of my day trying to get my modern computer to play a 25-year-old game. And in looking for help with this, I come across where they're coming out with a new Underworld game. So to give a little background on Ultima Underworld for the people that don't know, it was the first role-playing game to feature first-person action in a 3D environment, and it had elements in it where the player could look up and down. It had dynamic lighting. It had inertia. You could run at a wall and jump and hit that wall, and instead of just dropping straight down, you would bounce back.
Wow!
And so there was a lot of new things that went on with this game, and it's gotten a lot of awards and like Hall of Fame kind of things. And it went on, it influenced like Bethesda and Valve, and you end up with, it was inspiration behind like Deus Ex and BioShock and several other games. So the original studio, which was Blue Sky Productions, which became Looking Glass, the original developers decided they want to make a new version of this game. So we're getting Underworld Ascendant, and the gameplay that I've seen, the pre-alpha gameplay has been absolutely amazing. It looks just incredible. But the idea behind the Stygian Abyss, which is where this takes place, came from the scene that I was talking about in Moria, in the Lord of the Rings world or whatever. That's where the guy that developed it got the idea. And so in the original game, you played as the Avatar, and that is actually where we get the term Avatar for our online character, is from the Ultima series.
Wow, did not know that.
Yep, and he actually came up with the idea thinking about thinking about Jesus Christ, because
Okay.
Jesus Christ was an avatar that embodied all these virtues, and so that was where he kind of went with his protagonist for the Ultima series, which was called the Avatar.
Wow.
That's an interesting piece of history.
That is. That's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
And the neat thing about the original Ultima Underworld is it wasn't like a slash and hack game. You just run through. It wasn't a dungeon crawler where you run through killing everything and then you get to the last boss and you're done.
Uh-huh.
It was very. It had like very much like simulation elements to it, to where every decision that you made, whether in conversation or whether to attack someone or just talk to them, or how you approach things, it had an effect on the game, not so much as the outcome, but just in the way the game played. And so it was very nonlinear. It was it allowed for a lot of emergent gameplay, and it was a lot of fun. And it took me forever to finally beat this game. And so
Crazy.
what they're looking to do with the new one is Stygian Abyss is now inhabited by 3 factions, which would be Dark Elves, Dwarves, and Shamblers. You can also encounter non-player characters of no factional alignment. Supporting any faction will affect the balance of power in the Abyss and how factions react to the player. So that's very dynamic in that part of it. And it aims to present multiple unscripted solutions to scenarios present in the game, using a simulated system they dubbed the improvisation engine, where you can have a wide range of options to past obstacles in the game instead of some discrete puzzle solution that you have to sit and figure out. And that was one of the things that I saw in the pre-alpha gameplay, was the guy was trying to get around this one area to keep from getting spotted by the lizard men. And he had a basically had an artifact or tool that he could use to gravitate objects. And so he would pick up these blocks and gravitate them across like holes in this elevated like cavern walkway to make a bridge to walk across instead of having to go down and fight these lizard men. And I thought that was really really innovative. So you can actually take different approaches to every situation in there instead of it being very much scripted and the same thing every time. You know? So I think that would have a lot of replay value. But I'm really looking forward to this. It's like 25 years in the making, because this game came out. It's pre-Doom. It's pre-Wolfenstein. It's like almost pre-everything 3D. It was very innovative.
I hope it's not like when Michael Jordan tried to make a comeback in basketball, and it was just average.
Oh no.
Just from playing the game as a kid, and then of course as a teenager, and then now trying to play it again as an adult, knowing how it played before and seeing how this, and it's not supposed to be like a reboot, it's supposed to be like a whole new incarnation, but just from what I saw of it, it looks like it's going to be very interesting. It's not going to be average. It looks pretty amazing.
That's cool.
I was just looking it up on Steam, because that's where you can download it for PC, and then are you gonna be playing it on PS4? Is it available there too, or are you going to?
I'm not sure. It looks like it's gonna be like a Windows OS X Linux kind of thing.
Okay, because I see now, like on Steam, it says the release date is 2018, and that it's single player, and is that what you experienced? Was a single player?
Yeah, the original games were all single player.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you ended up with any of the online aspect of the Ultima series until you got into like Ultima Online.
Oh, okay.
And from gameplay that I've seen, it's not the same. The original Ultima games were amazing. Stories were always very interesting, very immersive. You know, you really got into playing that character, because as the avatar who embodies all these virtues, you have to make decisions you're supposed to make decisions that would be that would portray who you were as a character. So if you go into, like we were talking, you were talking about looking up Ultima 7 and seeing the scene where there's the 2 bodies that had been look like in a sacrifice. If you go in there and you start trying to steal things and the NPCs of the town catch you, you will literally never be able to leave that town, because you have to solve the murder before you can leave the town. And if you get caught stealing, the entire town will attack you and try to kill you. And so there's no way out of the town once you kill everybody. So the decisions you make have a very, very big impact on how well you do in the game. So, and I hope that they bring that I hope that they bring that idea forward into Ascendant so that, you can make those decisions, but some decisions aren't really the best ones to make,
Yeah.
I love that kind of gameplay where you have to say, well, I could do it this way and it would be a lot easier and simpler, but down the line it may cause me trouble with this certain person or this faction or group of people or whatever, or I can, do this other way that's more honorable and it'll take me longer, but it'll help me in the end. So I love that kind of thing. And one of the only other games I knew of that had like a karma system like that was Fallout New Vegas, where every decision you made on there, you got positive or negative karma.
Okay.
But and I like that. But I love the idea of going through the Stygian abyss one more time and just getting so immersed in it that I feel like I'm actually there.
Yeah, those are the best games for me too, or when you feel like you're definitely in that world without it being VR, You can really pull it off if you're not a VR game, but you can still immerse your player. That's awesome.
Where like you instinctively reach for your knife when someone disagrees with you.
I still feel like that in Ark. I'm one of the. I feel like I'm immersed. That's why I probably can't watch scary movies and stuff, because I feel I'm too into what I'm doing or watching that it's literally will just scare me to the point of shitting. Like not really, but I feel like it.
Or when you play so much Ark and get so involved in Ark that you try to click and build in real life.
Yes,
and it doesn't work.
Totally, 100%. Like, I feel like sometimes, and I know City has talked about this too, like when you actually have to go outside and start doing some landscaping and shit, you're like, God, this would really be so much better if I could just, throw up a fence. I'm like, damn, in real life, fences cost a lot of money and they're a lot of work. But in Ark, you just gather some resources, magically craft it in your inventory, and just snap it up, throw it up. Beep.
Well, if you had the skills, you could do that with you can have that with real life.
But fast in my inventory. I don't have that shit ain't gonna fit in my purse. And I have a big purse, and that is not gonna fit in my purse.
I can see Esme walking around with a mouse trying to click on everything to get it to do.
God.
Like put the mouse against the wall. Like I want to demolish this wall, but it's not going anywhere.
Take it away. Exactly. Like
I got a flat tire. I need some sticks and some stones.
Yeah. I want RG I could take to work. Forget a flat tire. I just want to take an RG to work. It'll be so much easier.
Be a little slow though.
Oh my God, did you guys see that video? It's been surfacing now. Totally, you just got me on this thing. That guy who jumps in the river and floats down the river to work. Did you guys see that video?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God,
it's in like Germany or Russia or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's some other country, but he avoids, and I thought of Foe when I watched this. I'm like, why doesn't Foe just jump in? But I doubt there's a river that runs right through the center of New York that you could just hop out and go to work.
I doubt it's clean enough for you to want to jump in.
I was going to say, you need to put like a third arm.
You don't want to just jump off in the Hudson and try to go to work, do you?
Let me see. It was I'll Google guy floats downriver to get to work and see what I come up with. Talk amongst yourself.
Funny because he just puts all of his clothes into a waterproof bag and just floats down the river in his underwear.
It is awesome. Okay, here it is. Munich. Yeah, Munich Command. And it was an actual video and everything that I saw. This is off from BBC.com. Of course, there's a video and it wants to play right now, so I can't hear anything. Oh, yeah. It says, most people commute by bus, train, or car, but Benjamin David gets to work by plunging into Munich's Isar River. And he was fed up with the stress of commuting, like Foe, and he wanted another way to go to work. And so he now packs his laptop, his suit, and shoes into a waterproof bag, straps it to his back, and swims 2 kilometers to work along the Isar River in Munich, Germany.
Man, this man needs a jet ski.
That's pretty cool, though.
Watch the video. I'll put it in the show notes. Watch the video. It is pretty impressive.
It looks like the most freaking relaxing way to get to work.
But my whole thought is how, obviously he has to take public transportation back home. It's not like he has a fold-up bike in there or whatever.
The only thing I was thinking is that's got to be as cold as hell.
Hell yeah. Could you imagine?
That's why they call it the Isar River.
Yeah, Isar River. It says, depending on the season, he wears swimming trunks or a long long wetsuit, as well as rubber sandals to protect his feet from glass or the occasional bicycle lane in the river. His commute sometimes invites laughs from bystanders on the bridges above, but he says it's faster and more relaxing than sitting in traffic. So when I was seeing this, I thought my first thought was there's going to be some troll that now knows that this dude does this. It's going to be like peeing off a bridge, like trying to pee on him or something. Because there's people like that out there.
Oh God, yeah.
They'd be like, Benjamin David's gonna be coming down this river at any time, because it's every day at the same time. There's gonna be some crazy ass person.
You see the guy at
a
home.
literal
He's got like
pissing
a gallon of
contest.
water and he's just chugging it. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I'm really loaded for this guy when he gets there. I'm gonna really like
Exactly.
rain down on him.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, then, don't you?
It's like aiming for the Cheerios.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So yeah, I cracked up, and that's what reminded me of that foe when you said you wanted an Argent, because there's other ways you can go, but it doesn't sound like it's really that much of an option either way for you.
I mean, I ride my bike to work. That's as close as I'm gonna get.
Yeah, you put a lot of wear and tear on your bike, don't you?
I gotta get a new tire. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's like you don't realize how much damage you could do to your bike just by riding it until you start riding it like over 100 miles a week. And you're like, man, this is crazy. I got to replace like spokes all the time, and just but you know what? It's worth it. It's totally fun.
I'll put the link to that dude in Last Call in case anybody, our listeners, want to read it, or you guys do. There's the video that explains everything, and Big said it does look like a very relaxing. He looks like he has no cares in the world, and literally that's probably the most present he is, like, all week long, is having that quiet time. It's not like he's gonna take out his mobile phone, and do any, like, check his email or something. He's literally just enjoying his commute to work going down this river. So pretty nifty. So we hijacked your Ultima Underworld. So if you were done, you can hand it off to Giga. If not, keep talking.
The only other thing I had was when they announced this in 2014, which I guess I'm behind on it, but when they announced in 2014 that they wanted to do this, they did a Kickstarter to raise the initial funds for it. Their goal was 600,000, and they raised over 160,000 within the first few hours of starting the Kickstarter. So they've definitely got a fan base. Because I know that where I started with the Ultima series is when we had our first computer. It was old school, like 486 DX2 machine. It had a floppy drive and no CD drive. So I went out and bought a CD drive, and it came with a CD that had a good like 50 or 60 full games on it. And Ultima 7, Underworld 1 and 2 were on there, and I played the crap out of those. Because I mean, like, there was other stuff on there, but those were the three that were the most fun. And so, like, I know there's a lot of people out there that love the Ultima series. Now, this is not an Ultima game. They got the licensing for the Underworld part, but not the Ultima brand. But it is the original developers of the Ultima series working on it. So it is and it isn't. But to see a game come back to the 3D dungeon crawler RPG style of Underworld, it is just, I know it's gonna be one of the most popular things out there. That's all I have.
Awesome. There's a lot of good games that are on the horizon that I think have piqued a lot of people's interest. Kind of like, and you always wonder and hope that it's going to be exactly as it's described and what you're seeing and stuff. So that's cool. Oh, right, Giga. Are you there, Giga?
Okay.
You had an interview, right, last week?
Yeah, I did.
Tell us about that.
Well, it went pretty much exactly how I expected it to. They asked me a couple questions, and now I have you click on my pilot info, you have my bio, which is an inside joke that you had to have been there at the event I went to get. But I have a nice little event staff title underneath my name.
Awesome. Did you put the link for us to see this, or no?
No.
Well, you need.
I mean, I can get a screenshot, but I don't know how difficult it would be to show that.
That works.
Okay, I was making sure I didn't mute my mic on accident. Yeah, I figured I would talk about the next thing that I'm training into in EVE right now, which is the incursions. Which basically, they're the closest thing EVE has to like a raid, in that you'll you'll have a system, and every now and then it'll become an incursion system. And basically, what that means is, lore-wise, like within the lore of the game, it's an enemy nation called Sancha's Nation, which is basically like this dude's basically insane, and he took him and a whole bunch of his like cult-like followers, and he moved way out into like abandoned space, and he just invades Empire space trying to get bodies to use for who knows what. Like the dude collects dead bodies, basically.
Goodness.
And what the incursions are is his army basically invading. And so you'll have a lot of communities basically made around traveling to these different incursion sites because they only last for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Because the way an incursion site works mechanically is the system is set up, and as soon as it becomes an incursion site, a bunch of beacons go up. And when you go to that beacon, you're taken to a small little acceleration gate, which is kind of like a jump gate, except it's a little bit smaller. It doesn't take you out of the system. It just flings you to a dead area of space. And from there, you and a fleet, because incursions are pretty much only able to be done in a fleet of battleships, and you and a fleet will basically have to kill as many of these enemy ships as possible. And if you complete it, you get a pretty big payout. And the corporation I'm in has a pretty big community around doing those. But I don't have the skills trained up to do it yet. So instead, what I've been doing personally is playing lookout for them, making sure that nobody that can actually kill us comes into the system. Because we're such a big, like, new player corporation that you'll have more experienced people looking to kill people that are inexperienced. Will declare war on our corporation, which allows them to attack us anywhere legally. And since we do the incursions, which spawn in high security space, the only people we really have to worry about are the people that are either going to suicide themselves on our ship and try to kill one of our ships, because ships that these people that actually run the sites are using are worth like 1.5 billion, 2.5 billion, because you want to be able to do the site as fast as possible. So you'll get people going like balls to the wall with the modules they put on their ship. Because once you get to a certain point, you really don't have to worry about dying in these things. Once you get the strategy down and you have people you do it with regularly. So once you get it down to a point, you're able to do it without dying, so people will focus on maxing out their DPS or making themselves virtually unkillable, just stuff like that. So it attracts a lot of people who would get really cheap ships that can do a lot of damage, and are focused only on doing damage. Because like there's weapons in the game called like polarized machine gun. And what a polarized weapon does is it completely negates your ship's... polarized torpedo launchers are what I'd have probably the most experience with. And they completely negate your ship's resistances. You take maximum damage from anything that hits you, but they give you a massive damage increase. They're also stupidly expensive. But people will get ships, they will min-max the price versus how much damage they can do, and then they will basically come and they'll kill you, knowing that they're going to get killed. But as long as they've killed you, it's worth it.
Really? Wow.
So it's like, it's basically like trying to rob a bank before the police can show up. You're gonna have to deal with them. Like I said, you can't evade the space police, to the point that if you do manage to evade them, it's considered you glitched somehow and broke the rules.
So is there actual space police, like NPC driven or player?
There's NPC.
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't let the space police be player. Basically, the way it works. Yeah, the way it works is have I ever explained that? I don't think I have.
I don't. That's all new to me. I don't remember hearing that.
That's a pretty big thing that I must have glossed over then. Okay, basically in EVE there's 4 different types of systems. There's high security, low security, null security, and wormholes.
Okay.
High security has either Empire faction ships or the Concord police, basically orbiting every Stargate. And if you attack anyone in high security space that you are not at war with or currently engaged in a duel, like a legal agreed upon duel with, Concord will show up and kill you. And as soon as they show up, they completely neutralize your ship you're done. You can't activate any of your weapons.
Wow.
Game over, kid. Like,
wow.
they shut you down. So a lot of the like high security ganking is designed around having ships that can kill you in like 2 seconds.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy.
So
that's an entirely different element.
yeah, and then low security
Wow.
space has no police, but the stargates and space stations do have sentry guns on them.
Uh-huh.
And those sentry guns will shoot anybody that attacks somebody unprovoked. So it's not as good, but it's better than nothing.
Right.
And then null security space is... You would think it's the most dangerous, but it's actually the safest because null security space is owned by players.
Okay.
And these players are usually the biggest alliances in the game. And they have... Like, say I'm a member of a alliance, there'll be a whole intel channel that'll tell me, like, okay, there's neutrals coming, blah, 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 jumps out. And I'll be able to dock back up or choose to stay out if I want to.
Okay.
So, and then there's always people roaming.
Which I guess it kind of makes sense because you said that, like, you wouldn't think that the player-driven kind of security would be the safest, but I guess playing in Ark, when you do have like those alpha tribes that kind of value protocol or like they don't like people just coming in and griefing like lowbies. So like I've seen where like alpha tribes actually stick up for like the starter people and they'll push off the trolls, like they police the server. I guess it kind of ironically would feel the same way. You wouldn't think that it was the biggest, thing, but they actually value that kind of cultivating that kind of an environment.
They produce things is what it is, at least in EVE. Like,
Uh-huh.
for example, going back to my story from last time, Brave Collective came all out to attack me because they knew that if I was not killed, I would attack their mining ships.
Ah.
And that messes up their supply of weapons. And
so they were just coming to get rid of you. That was like a little pest to them.
Yeah, because I was a threat. I could potentially kill. Because, like, to give you an idea, if you get like super into the EVE Reddit, you'll read about some massive alliances. They claim they don't do it. They claim that they don't support it. You'll somehow find 6 or 7 super carrier ships constantly killing NPCs. And they're bots. They're basically bots. Like, there's bots in EVE that are designed so that if a neutral player enters the system, they'll automatically dock up, making them basically super, super safe way to make an infinite amount of money 24/7.
Wow.
And the big corporations, like, they swear they don't do it. But I think the leader of one of the bigger ones, Goonswarm, recently got, like, somebody posted a clip of him talking to some of his, like, higher-ups in the corp. Basically, it was, don't report blue bots, was what he said.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should explain that, too.
I don't understand the blue bots.
Yeah, basically, to give you an example, my corporation there's other corporations living in the system that my corporation has 4 main citadels, one in high security, one in null, one in a wormhole, and one in low security. And the high security one has like a super, super close relationship with another corporation. So what they can do, they can set something called a standing to blue. And that means that any pilot that's in the corporation that's blue to my corporation will have a little blue plus mark next to their name. And it's essentially a good way of saying this person's a friend.
Right. Okay.
And it goes backwards too. Like, for example, there's a person in a corporation called Red versus Blue that, since they've declared war on my corporation before, they have a -5. So they have a little negative symbol next to their name.
Oh, wow.
And it tells
That's
me, hey. Yeah, and then, like, we use the -10, which is the worst you can get for, basically people we've confirmed are just alts for people we're currently at war with.
Oh, okay.
And then if you're at war with somebody, their name's flashing red. So that's a whole different thing.
Wow, so much stuff, but it sounds like once you get it figured out, and I think that game does sound really immersive.
Yeah, basically, once you get, like...
Have you started dreaming about it yet? Because that's normally the second thing that happens when you get really deep into a game. You have.
I don't really remember my dreams, but
one dream I woke up and I was dreaming about this
I know I've played Ark in my dreams
wormhole.
before, so...
And
know
I
I
was just dreaming
definitely
about putting
think
my
about it a lot.
torpedoes through this huge wormhole.
But yeah,
He's
so
ignoring you, foe.
I'm about to
Like,
get into
so once I woke up,
incursions.
I had greased my
What I'm
hands.
going
cool.
for.
That's
Stealth
cool.
bombing is my hobby, but it's not a good way to make money.
I will forever hear, because I'm a stealth god. Like, I will hear that now forever.
Good, because I am.
Well, that's cool. Congratulations on your new title in the Eve for E University, right?
Now
It's
go
called
and make
E.
some
Yeah,
events,
Eve
dude.
University.
Eve University.
I actually am planning one.
Ooh, ooh.
I'm going to run a trivia
Excited.
show.
All right, what do you got for us, faux render?
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
How dare you?
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me how to run my
Don't
life.
tell me how to do. But
Don't tell me who you are and who I am.
What have you been playing, you jerk? What have you been playing, faux?
Dramatic pause. I've been playing Monster Hunter. So after talking about it last week, made me want to get on there and play some more Monster Hunter World. I already got the hyperlink up, so don't go touching it.
I did touch it.
I know, I saw you messing with my Monster Hunter World. Anyway, so I went over there and I started playing, and I was going after this creature that's like a cockatrice, and it's in the jungles.
What?
And I've been wanting to kill it because I wanted the stealth suit, which is kind of makes you look like a ranger. And it got a hood, and it got cool camo stuff on it, and resistance to poisons and stuff, and I love it. And that's my favorite armor set in the whole game. So I was like actively trying to get it. I spent a couple of minutes looking it up and seeing how to fight this thing, and then I went in and I killed it. Then I had to kill it like another 7 or 8 to 10 times to get the full set. So I got the full set. I'm happy with that. And Monster World is still a blast to play. Then I am watching some TV, but I'll get to that in a little bit. I also been playing a game called Legend of the Five Rings, and I have a tournament in it tomorrow. It's a tabletop game. It's a card game, and it's a living card game. So the difference between a living card game and a collectible card game is you don't have to collect it because it's not random stuff within the packs. So if you go and buy the set, you have all the cards there, and you don't have to go hunting for like rares and legendary cards, and it's a lot cheaper usually than playing a collectible card game. And living card games are my favorite card games for that reason. So Legend of the Five Rings is a samurai game. It's an actual reboot of a game that came out years ago, and it has a huge fan base, and it has samurai clans. And what I like about this card game is a lot of the people that play the card game, they get very loyal to the clans that they like. Like, I'm a diehard Phoenix guy, so I love Phoenix. I love the Phoenix clan, and so I always, most of the time, play Phoenix. And the community for that game is just so hardcore about their clans, and that's what makes it fun. You're like, oh, this guy's part of the Lion Clan, and they're like, Phoenix doesn't like them, so you get these like cool rivalries that are based off of the story and the fluff. So it's not play driven, you have the fluff, but the players actually get involved, and it's super cool. And there's a tournament coming up tomorrow, so I'm gonna play in it, and hopefully I could win some cool loots. The game is a samurai game, so picture like it's not a real, it's a fantasy realm, and it's samurais and honor and things like that. And the 5 rings is the elemental rings. So when you're playing the game, you have these elemental rings on the table, and when you attack someone's homelands, you have to use one of these elemental rings. And depending on which elemental ring you use, you get like a special effect if you win that fight. So like one of the ring lets you pick up an extra card. One of the rings lets you get like more like the honor and stuff like that. And it's a really cool nuance to a card game. And what I also like about it is you could either attack politically or you could attack through like soldiers and a war. So that's a nice little cool thing too. So it's not only are you constantly fighting, you could do political attacks, which could be sometimes more powerful than a sword and shield. So that game's a lot of fun. And if you guys are looking to get into a cool card game that doesn't cost a lot of money and has a cool theme, definitely check out Legend of the Five Rings.
Legend of the Five Rings.
for faux show.
Dragon Clan for life.
Well, there is no dragon. There is a dragon clan actually. So Dragon Clan is pretty cool. Dragon Clan has a lot of monks. And
How many
they're pretty
different
good.
clans is there?
I want to say 7. There's Phoenix, which is Phoenix Clan is the clan I like the most, and they have a lot of magic users and like wizards, and they manipulate the elemental rings. So a lot of their gameplay has to do with the rings and the elements. And they're kind of the toughest faction to use because they're not kind of straightforward. You have to manipulate the rings. So there's a lot of cool different things you could do. And I like that. I like figuring out like all like the it's not so straightforward, which is what I like. So I like the way they play like with the rings. They're not just like, I'm going to come at you with a bunch of soldiers, or I'm going to come at you with this or that. It's like you kind of don't know what they're going to come at you with, and that's what I like. And then you have Lion Clan, and Lion Clan is soldiers. So they're all about a bunch of soldiers, get them out, flood the field with soldiers, and crush face. Then you have Crane, which is a political clan. So they're all about, talking you to death. And then you have Dragon, which is they have a lot of soldiers, they have a lot of monks. So they do a little bit of both, but they their thing is they have really good equipment, and instead of putting out a lot of soldiers, they'll put out fewer soldiers that have a lot of good equipment on them. And that's pretty cool. And then you have Scorpion. And Scorpion is like, they work in the shadows, and they have assassins, and they're, quote unquote, the bad guys. But if you read the story, they're not really the bad guys. They just got to do all the dirty work. And then you have Crab, and the Crab Clan is very defensive. So attacking them is just strenuous because they have a lot of defense. It's hard to get through them, and they're defensive, but just like a crab, they also have claws, so they can hit you where it hurts if you're not paying attention to what they're planning. So that's most of the factions. I might have left out one or so because I don't have all the factions in front of me, but that's most of them. It's a very interesting game. It's super cool. The games take about 40 minutes each to play.
That does look cool.
And what I like about
this...
It's
2 players?
It's 2 players. Yeah, it's 2 players, 1-on-1. And what I like about this game, though, also is there's 3 ways to win the game. So you could win the game by killing all the person's homelands and then killing their stronghold. That's usually the main way to win. That's like basically just attacking. Then you could win by getting up to 25 honor. You could win that way by being the most honorable. Or you could win by taking away all of their honor. So you could take away their honor, you could get the most honor, which is 25, or you could destroy their stronghold. And that's how you win. 3 ways of winning. It's pretty cool.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And then you have Hearthstone. I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone again. An expansion's coming out. It looks super
Ding, ding,
cool.
ding.
The expansion is, do you remember, it's the Worgens. The Worgen expansion. So that's a lot of cool stuff. I love the theme of the Worgen land. It's like that kind of like horror-esque theme. So that's the new expansion. That's going to be super cool to play with. So,
and that is free to play to download, at least. Like
Hearthstone, it's free to play.
Yeah.
If you want to get all the cards right away, you have to pay money.
Yeah.
But Hearthstone, if you want to play the game totally for free, it's totally possible.
That is cool. That's one thing I did always like about it. It didn't feel like it was too stacked against you to not buy packs of cards. And it's pretty cool because you can play against just people. You can just do your own quests or do like your own against the AI or against your friends. I used to do Hearthstone against my husband, and whoever lost a round had to do dishes. That was fun. We would like be like, if you lose and you got to do
that alone,
cool.
I would be buying cards like crazy.
Right, exactly. It was a fun thing to do. So, I think it's cool. It's a cool game.
It's like you do the dishes.
Yeah. It's like, if I win this round, it's
so
fun.
I've been playing again. I'm actually moving up in the ranks. I'm thinking about pushing for Legendary this month. We'll see. It's just such a grind.
Right. I've heard that it is quite a grind.
But I've been having a lot of fun with that again.
I suck at Hearthstone, though. I suck at it.
TV. I've been watching some Netflix lately, and I've been watching this fantastic show called 7 Seconds. It's a crime drama.
7 Seconds.
Yes. Now, the reason why I started watching this show, because crime dramas, I usually skip those for the most part.
Uh-huh.
But I started watching this because I actually know one of the actors in it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I started watching it, and it's a good show. I was pleasantly surprised. The acting in this show it's worth watching the show just for the acting alone. The acting is phenomenal.
Okay.
It's a crime drama, so it's, a little sad, a little bit, you get a little bit annoyed at certain parts, but it's a really hardcore crime drama. It takes place in New Jersey, and it's definitely a good show. Good show for sure to watch.
It says, yep, it has 1 season out right now, and it just came out this year.
1 season. It just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's brand new. They might not get a second season. They might get a second season, but by what I've read, even if they do get a second season, they're going to do a different story, just like American Horror Story style.
Okay.
So now with the show, so if you like the ending, cool. If you don't like the ending, guess what? That's just how it ends.
Right, that's just how it ends, exactly.
That's the story. And,
Don't get attached.
And it's based off of a true story, so that's another thing to also think about.
Cool.
Then I've been watching Sherlock Holmes
Ooh.
on Netflix, the newer Sherlock series.
Oh,
it's
I'll
fantastic.
have to check that out.
It is so good.
Awesome.
Definitely check it out. Each episode is like an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay.
But each season is
not
3
that many?
episodes.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think I do remember that part about it. I think I've heard that much about it.
Watson's fantastic. The guy who plays Sherlock is fantastic. It's just a good show. It just really is a good show. If you like Sherlock Holmes, and what I like about this version of Sherlock Holmes, he's really like a superhero, which is how I like the Sherlock. Like it's really cool. He's really strong. So, which is cool about this character, and he's strong because he's so smart. So
Awesome.
Definitely, if you want to watch a good, fantasy action thinking movie show. Well, each episode is like a movie. It's in freaking hour and a half.
Right,
long.
an hour and a half. Right.
But it's cool because each show ends a case, which is cool. So you get like an ending per each show, and then the next show is a new case.
Awesome. And you got a new desk that does some pretty fantastic things.
Let me tell you something about my desk. I've been waiting to upgrade my desk for a long time because when I sit down for too long, my legs get crampy, your back starts to hurt. So I always wanted one of those. Exactly. I always wanted one of those desks where it could raise up by itself and you could stand up and play or whatever. And also, I was told by the wife, you can't have 2 desks anymore in the apartment.
She's cutting you down.
Exactly, because I used to have my PC desk, and I also had my painting desk. So now both of those are combined onto one larger desk.
Oh, okay.
But
How's that working out for you so far?
I was going to
So
ask
far,
the same thing.
It's working out awesome.
We got to see the picture.
Now, the whole thing with the desk was these stand-up desks could be a little bit expensive, and I didn't feel like dropping like $700 on it. So what I did was I found the hydraulic frame by itself for like $250. Then I went to the lumber yard and bought myself a pretty nice piece of wood. I sanded it down myself, stained it, polyurethane it myself, and I actually kind of made my own desk. And instead of paying $700 for this type of desk, I only spent about $300.
Wow, go you. So now you have your dream desk.
Exactly. So I got this dream desk, and I'm already thinking, if I want later on, I could really upgrade this desk to like a really fancy piece of wood for the top. Because right now I just got something like mediocre. So later on, I'm thinking, I could really upgrade it to like a really nice piece of wood maybe.
And you were so jazzed to get it, and you got your computer back, and then something ridiculous happened.
So I got my computer back. After all of that stuff after getting it back the first time.
Right.
So I get it back.
And you get it back.
And I am trying to put like a shelf on the bottom of my PC for like more like the airflow circulation. Because, Arc likes to run every single fan in your PC tower.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me put this thing on top of this stand, and one of the arms breaks. So my computer slams super hard, and it wouldn't go on again. So like the power would go on, but it wouldn't turn on my monitor or my keyboard.
Oh my goodness.
So luckily in my job, there's a tech guy. So I brought it in there. Exactly. So we tested out a couple of things. I was like, I hope I just didn't bust my new power supply I just put in. He was like, no, it's not the power supply because we swapped it out, put in a different power supply. It wound up being the motherboard.
That
So-
sucks. You cannot win with this thing.
I
can
had
you?
to swap out
Motherboard.
the mother, so I had to go on Amazon, order a motherboard, wait 2 days for it to come, then put that in. Then today, the guy's like, "Oh, dude," he's like, "I forgot to tell you, we need thermal paste." I'm like,
That explains your
dude,
comment earlier.
I'm like, are you serious? Thermal paste? Like,
man.
if I order this on Amazon, it's gonna take another 2 days to come.
Right.
So on my lunch break, I ran out to Staples. They're like, we don't have thermal paste. I'm like, what good are you? Then he was like, well, we're not that good, but I could tell you where to get thermal paste. I was like, where do you get it? He was like, Best Buy. Now, Best Buy, from where I was 20 blocks away. So, on my lunch still,
You don't
I
have an
jump on the-
urgent.
I jump on the train. Jump on the train, go to Best Buy. I'm like, I walk in, first person I see, thermal paste. They're like, what? I'm like, thermal paste. He's like, did you order that online? I'm like, no. I'm like, I was told you might have it. He's like, I'm like, it would be in the PC section. He was like, okay, it's right over there. So it's like, obviously you don't know what anything is, so I had to tell you where it is, and just tell me where the section is, please. So I get to the PC section, which is 2 floors down underground, and I go to that guy. I'm like, thermal paste. He's like, oh, we have thermal paste right over here. Guess what? It was the last tube of thermal paste.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, you got lucky.
Lucky
I know.
dog.
Super lucky. So I grab the thermal paste like a crackhead. I run over to the register. I buy it. Jump
Like
back on the
someone's
train.
gonna come and steal it out of your hands. Give me it.
Exactly. I jump back on the train. The whole time I'm looking at my watch, like I only got a certain amount of time on my lunch break. Then I walk into the front door of my job, and this dude has the nerve to say, "Oh, we also need rubbing alcohol."
Holy mother.
Motherfucker.
Ah, it's like the
This
damn quest in a game.
son
It's like
of a
go
bitch.
kill 27 cats. All right.
Exactly. All
Go
right,
kill
now,
97 buzzards. What?
Exactly.
You couldn't have me do that shit when I was out and about around the
now go
freaking
find
buzzards?
15 pig's feet.
You've been on your own hellacious quest in real
Exactly.
life.
So I'm on this hellacious WoW quest where I'm running around, just running around.
Collecting cat collars.
At least let a
and
homeless
paste
dude
and-
jump out of an alley that I got to beat down into the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be like that. The raccoons will come after you. You have no idea.
So, luckily, I see the nurse leaving. I'm like, please tell me you have some alcohol pads. She was like, I do. Go and grab some. So I grab some alcohol pads. I get up there, and he's able to put the last piece onto my PC, which is the heating block or the thing that cools down the chip. So he puts on thermal paste, gets it in there. It doesn't want to start.
Oh, goodness.
So now we're messing with it. Some of the pins from the chip had to be straightened.
Oh.
Little tiny pins.
Yeah.
I was like, why can't AMD just stop being so cheap and like just put like the touch pads like on like the Intel chip? You know, there's no pins on the Intel chips. So anyway, so he straightens out the pins, gets it in, gets it working, and voila. I got my tower waiting to be hooked up. And the cool thing about it is the motherboard that I got is a better motherboard than the last, so that's pretty cool.
Well, good for you. Let's hope that this is all you have to deal with from here on out. Because you said you got it up, you just haven't turned it on yet.
Word, but you know, when you start adding new things to your PC,
Yes.
you almost kind of get hooked.
Yes.
But now it's like,
you just
I
start
wonder,
seeing all that stuff. How
maybe
easy
I
it is.
should buy like an Intel chip. But if I get the Intel chips I want, I have to upgrade the motherboard. Basically, the chip I have in there is the max that motherboard could handle. So I'd have to upgrade my motherboard in order to get a better chipset. So maybe that's something I could do later on. But yeah, like once I find out how easy it is to like do, it's like, ooh, what else can I upgrade? Solid state drive, maybe?
Dun, dun, dun.
Da-na-na-na. So yeah, had a lot of
Well,
fun running around all
congratulations.
over the place.
Hopefully, by next week, you won't have anything else that had happened to you. No more quests. No more computer quests for you.
No more crazy long dumb quests.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds like it's been a ridiculous ride.
Yeah, no shit. I know how you feel, though. Just got off my own. So I know how you feel, man. All right, I think it's time for last call. Here we go.
It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can stay here.
All right, we're closing down the show. I have added everyone's Twitter handles to the show, except for Gigabyte, because he doesn't like Twitter. And also, I wanted to toss in, and I forgot that Yogi mentioned in our Discord channel that Yogi and Kamikaze were going back and forth in our the mobile chat for like the mobile apps and stuff we put on our phones, and they were letting everyone know that the Fortnite Battle Royale is ready to be tested on iOS, so you can sign up on their website for the Fortnite invite event on iOS waiting list. They will send you an email invite as soon as you can play. It is for the full Battle Royale experience on the go. Same gameplay, same map, same weekly updates. So I put the link to that in the show notes. It's www.epicgames.com/Fortnite and all that jazz. So you can sign up now if you have iOS. So it's looking like you could sign up for Arc and the Fortnite testing.
Fortnite's really fun. Know what's cool about the Fortnite game, though? That's going to be cross-platform.
Ooh.
Eventually, they want to make all of the Fortnites cross-platform.
Wow.
Like
That will be
mobile can play
interesting.
with PC.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently so.
I'm just gonna come out
Get
and say
over
it.
it.
That's
Get over it with
really
the
fucking
mouse.
dumb.
Get over
Oh
it with the
my
mouse
God.
and
Oh, Jesus.
keyboard. Some people just want to play the freaking game.
Okay,
and
you try to
that's
tell
that.
me
What did I
that
do?
there
What-
isn't
what-
a
you did
massive
this,
difference in trying to control Fortnite on your phone compared to having a mouse and keyboard. You tell me which one has the advantage.
I understand what you're saying, but if people want to get involved with their friends, let them get
Yeah.
involved with their friends, man.
You're saying there's pretty much nothing they...
We're not saying
that's what they
going
wanna
to
do,
play
that's what they wanna
esports. We're not saying join the
but
esport
you
team
know
with your
people
mobile
are gonna
phone.
bitch about it, and then they're gonna change things
Let
to
'em
freaking
bitch.
balance it.
Everybody,
It's people like you.
guaranteed. It's people like you, he said.
It's like Sea of Thieves.
You won't
The,
have to worry about
sniper rifle in Sea of Thieves already has, like, you can't
Do you play
adjust
Fortnite?
Yeah, I do.
Well, then now you can play with your friends on their mobile phones.
Ding,
Nah,
ding,
because I
ding.
think Fortnite's an awful game.
All right, so
So what
awful
does it
that you
matter?
still play it. So.
Well, I play it with some friends.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
Huh.
People full circle right here, folks. Full circle. Boom, boom, boom.
You just watch the circle be
you
drawn.
just watch the circle.
How's
All
that
I
shoe
think
taste?
is that Epic changed what Fortnite was supposed to be because nobody was buying their $40 free-to-play game. So instead, they made a free-to-play
That's totally
battle
what they
royale
did.
game.
That's
Exactly.
totally what they did. And
Yeah.
they saved their ass.
Yep. All right. Speaking of saving asses, you can join us in the games we play. The
I'm
Discord
watching my
we
son
act
right
in,
now play
and the
Fortnite with his
podcast
friends.
we record together at crossrealmofrebellion.com.
I think
Anybody-
Fortnite is hot
Anybody else
garbage.
have any shout outs or anything they want to share?
Well, now that my computer's working again, I'm going to download Fortnite so I can play with my friends on their mobile phones. But also, the YouTube thing's starting. So I already made I already hooked down all of, the titles and everything. You got to make an email.
Yeah,
Then you got to
do
make
all
a
that
YouTube
stuff.
account. You got to lock in all the names and all the different places.
Okay.
So that's done.
So by next week, you might have some more info for us.
Or I might even have
You might even have a video up.
a video.